Have you ever thought about putting a power meter on your track bike to improve your training or your performance? It's pretty straightforward. Today I'm going to swap out the SRM Omnium crankset that I've got on my track bike, change out the bottom bracket and put on an SRM PowerMeter. At the World Track Championships in Berlin in early 2020, it was interesting to see most of the teams using SRM PowerMeters. There were some truly outstanding performances. Now back to today's job. This is the SRM Omnium crank. Opening the box, this is an SRM Origin Track Carbon, rechargeable with 30mm axle. You'll need just a few tools for this job. Your regular spanners and hex wrenches that you'd normally use on your track bike, bottom bracket removal tools and installation if it's a different type of bottom bracket, and also a torque wrench. My current bottom bracket is a SRAM external cut bottom bracket, and the new one that I'm putting on is from Praxis, and that has its own tool. There are 5 main steps after we get the wheel off. First we'll remove the non-drive crank. This is a normal right-hand thread on SRAM, so undoing to the left. And gently remove the crank from the drive side. Step 2 is to remove the bottom bracket, starting on the non-drive side. I've pre-loosened this. This is also a normal right-hand thread, so remove it to the left. Now remove the drive side bottom bracket, which is a left-hand thread, so undo it to the right. Clean the threads and also take the chance to clean your frame if you want to. I use an anti-seize compound for the alloy-to-alloy connection. Step 3 is installing the new bottom bracket. Just do this first bit by hand without the tool, being very careful with the threads. And the non-drive bearing with a right-hand thread. Now using the tool and a torque wrench to torque it to specification. In this case it's 40 Newton meters. Step 4 is to install the power meter and the new cranks. Use some of the anti-seize compound on the inner race of the bearings. The tolerances are very tight, so you might need to jiggle it about a bit to be able to get it through. Checking that it's spinning freely. Now install the non-drive crank, and as this is a carbon to alloy connection, I use carbon paste on this. Put in the crank bolt by hand. This is a left-hand thread. Tighten until there is no lateral play, but also no side load on the bearing, and then back it off just a quarter of a turn. Torque the pinch bolt, 4 Newton meters. Now with the pinch bolt already tightened, tighten the crank bolt to 4 Newton meters. I Loctite in the back of the chainring bolts to make it easy to swap chainrings. The fifth and final step is to check the power meter is working. This is PowerMeter 8, so I'm using the dedicated app and Bluetooth connection to make sure that the latest firmware is loaded and that data is getting transmitted correctly from the power meter. Download the app from the App Store, open it up, connect to your power meter, do the calibration, and check that data is being transmitted. Now I'll pair it with the head unit and make sure that power and cadence is getting recorded correctly. So job done. I've now got SRM PowerMeter 8 on my track bike with the 30mm through axle and the Praxis bottom bracket. I'm just going to give it a once over and make sure everything's tightened up and then go for a test ride. If you have any questions, just send me a message.